Right, friends. Okay. Just a second, guys. Okay. So now that you guys have already listened to the concepts of standard costing, which I've uploaded in the last 2 days of session. So now we'll go for solving problems. Now, one thing you please try to understand, this is not a chapter to ignore. I've seen so many students taking standard costing in a lighter sense. They think that they can just ignore it. That's not a right move. You will regret it later. Mark my words. Okay. So this is not a chapter that you eventually should be ignoring. That one thing I can say with 100% confidence. Okay. Anyway, so in the last session, I think you guys have already done with all the concepts. I've taught you the basics of standard costing. I've already taught you the concept of material variances, labor variances, variable overheads, fixed overheads, sales variances, along with the logics. Okay, so that much it is enough right now, because tomorrow when you come to final also you have to start from, because if you look at my final lectures also, I actually start from the scrap, from zero, because many of the students, they complain to me saying that we have left this chapter in IPCC or CA Inter, we have not at all studied this, we have left it for choice, and then when it comes to final, it's a very important chapter where you at least get 10 marks out of it, and then eventually what happens, so your entire journey becomes really difficult, because again you have to start from zero. So you guys don't do that mistake. Not only that, even once you get qualified as a CA also, you go to any of these so-called multinational companies, even non-manufacturing companies for that matter, even software oriented companies like Cognizant, Ernst, and I mean, what is that, Cognizant Technical Services, this TCS and all that. So even in these so-called companies also, you'll have something called variance analysis profile, and there you'll go and get stuck. And like my friends right now, don't get suffered, because I know what they're telling me over the phone. They're in that particular profile and they've ignored standard costing. Now they're going front and back, and they're just trying to put whatever the variances, and they're doing a lot of homework. And even after that, if they are not able to do that, what they eventually do is that they just put the variances, and then somehow they are managing. So don't be in such a kind of situation. That's what I would rather advise you, because standard costing is something that it's very important in real life also. Once you, I mean, I'm talking about post qualification days. Some of you might say that, okay, post qualification has got nothing to do with me, I just first want to pass, and after that I'll think about later. Ignoring any important chapter is never advisable, because sometimes what happens is that the chapter that you ignore, from that you'll get a very basic question which is pretty easy, which you could have pretty much easily solved if at all you have just had a basic idea of that particular chapter. And the chapter which you have really studied hard, from that a difficult question will come. What you will do in that time? So try to be smart. Don't be a stupid fool who just listens to generalized understanding of preparation, and then just goes with selective study. I never advise selective study. Okay, I just tell you which is important, which is unimportant. That doesn't mean that unimportant things has to be totally ignored, because if your time is bad, as I told you, that's what will happen. Of course, if your time is good, you'll get all the questions from your selective study. There's no doubt in that. And the chapters that you have ignored, maybe a difficult question will come from there. In that case, you'll be very happy and you'll get good marks. But that's not the case when things go bad. That will cost you your attempt, and one attempt will have an opportunity cost of 3 lakhs, because you'll become 6 months CA late, right? 6 months is gone in your lifetime, and 6 months of salary opportunity is gone. Again, it's not going to come back no matter how many years you live. So these are all the things that you guys need to take seriously. So therefore, this is not a chapter to ignore. Okay, right? Anyway, chalo. So that's why, even though it's a revision session, rapid revision of 28 hours or 25 hours, I just uploaded classes where it was taught in a normal pace, not hurry burry and kind of a thing, because otherwise you will not understand the logics behind standard costing. That was the whole intention behind that. Anyway, chalo. Now, presuming that you guys have watched those videos and you have understood the logics behind the same, now let's go with solving the sums. Now, question number 1. In your material, you guys have the material. Now have a look into that. The following data are available for a product. Standard material cost per unit of output is 2 kgs at rupees 20 per kg. During a period, actual details are as under. You've got actual output, material used, actual price per kg, and you just need to find out material variances. That is the question. Have a look into the question first. We'll start solving. But prior to this, obviously what you guys should be knowing is that you should clearly know the formulas and the logics behind the formulas which I've taught you, which means the last 3 videos which I've uploaded based on standard costing. Okay, I think day 9 part 1 and part 2 and day 10. right? Anyway, so if you guys are ready, we'll start. I'm just opening the questions over here. Yeah. Right, guys, done with your reading? We'll start solving. Okay, chalo, let's start with question number 1. So first thing is, the following data are available for a product. You need to have question in front of you, either in soft copy format. I have it in another laptop in front of me, or you can have a hard copy. So you have to look at the question. I cannot show you both the windows at a time. The following data are available for a product. Standard material cost per unit of output is 2 kgs at rupees 20 per kg. During the period, actual details are as under: actual output, material used, actual price per kg. Find out material variances. Fine. The first thing that you have to do is very simple. Do you have single raw material or multiple raw material in this question? Very simple. As you can see from reading the question itself, it is a single raw material. So when it's single raw material, how you gonna calculate variances? So material cost variances will be divided into 2 for single raw material: price variance and usage variance, right? Cost variance will be divided into 2, price and usage. Usage will be further divided into 2, mix and yield, only when you have multiple raw materials, not the single raw material. Okay, what about the formula? 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2 and 1 minus 3. You can directly do with logics also. I explained you the logics, but considering our examination is a quantitative kind of exam where you have to do things faster, this one will really come handy for you. That's the reason we go with formulas. Normally people who are writing ACC exams, I take classes for ACC as well, there I don't recommend them to go with the formulas. We totally do it in a different way. Why? Because their examination, more time is available in the exam so that you can apply the logics and then eventually solve it. But our exam, you don't have time, you have to do a lot of sums. Therefore it's better and safe to go with these formulas, only to increase up the speed, nothing else. Okay, first one. So what is the formula? As I told you, SQ into SP. Okay, I have explained you the logics as well. Second one, AQ into AP. Third one, AQ into SP. Got it? Let's write the formulas first, and now let's start solving. Okay, now that implies, what is SQ? As I told you, yeah, standard quantity of raw material which is allowed for actual output. So raw material that is allowed for actual output, that is a point, SQ. So what about standard quantity in the question? Standard material cost per unit of output is 2 kgs. That is given in the first line. So standard quantity is 2 kgs. Standard quantity of raw material, standard quantity of input is 2 kgs per unit of output. So standard quantity for actual output. So standard quantity is 2 kgs for actual output. What is the actual output? Into 10,000 units is the actual output. Into standard price. What is the standard price? 2 kgs at 20 per kg. 20 per kg is the standard price. Okay. Got the point? Chalo. Next, actual quantity into actual price. What is the actual raw material used? It is given in the question. As you can see here, 22,000 kgs is the actual raw material used. So 22,000 kgs into actual price 25. Actual quantity is 22,000 kgs into standard price, which is 20. Got the point? That's it. You just need to do calci work. Just a second, I'll get my calci. Right friends, let's do the calci work. So 2 into 10,000 into 20, that comes around 4 lakhs. Okay, here 22,000 into 25, that comes around 50,000. Okay, okay, just a second. 22,000 into 25, 5 lakh 50. Okay, next 22,000 into 20, 4 lakh 40,000. Okay, as you can see the numbers over here, 1 minus 2. So 1 minus 2 is 4 lakhs minus 5 lakh 50. That is 1 lakh 50,000 negative, which is adverse. 3 minus 2, 4 lakh 40 minus 5 lakh 50, which is 90,000, again negative, so adverse. Material usage variance 1 minus 3, 4 lakhs minus 4 lakh 40,000, 40,000 negative, which is adverse. I've explained you already all the logics. I don't think I have to explain it again. So adverse variance means any variance that has the ultimate effect of reducing your actual profit is adverse, and favorable means any variance that has the ultimate effect of increasing your actual profit is favorable. And of course I explained you the logics, and here also I told you it's a blind rule, that's it, only to speed up the way we are going to solve the sums in the examination. Apart from that, there is no other purpose. Okay, if your examination style is different, like international exams, I would have never advised you to go for formula, I would have advised you to go for the logics. That's the reason in the conceptual videos I have explained you both the logics as well as the formula, right? How the formula has come also I have explained you with clear logics. So anyway, so this is your answer. In examination, can I present it this way? Absolutely. Is that clear? Please understand that there is no standard format for presentation. Presentation means, a good presentation means whatever you have written, I am as an examiner should be able to understand. That's it. That's what you call it as presentation. It doesn't mean that it has to be done only with this particular way. I myself am a qualified CA, right? 8 long years back. At the time I've done this way and I've qualified in the first attempt at the age of 21. You got the point? So therefore it should not be a problem for you, right? Chalo, we're done with it. Let's move on to the second question. So let's have a look into question number 2. Okay, the standard set for a chemical mixture of a firm is as under. You got material A and B. Standard mix percentage is given 40 and 60. Standard price per kg is given 20 and 30. The standard loss in production is 10%. During a period, the actual consumption and price paid for a good output of 189 kgs are as under. So you got material A and B, quantity in kg is given, actual price per kg is given. You are required to calculate material variances. That is your question. Okay. So as usual, you guys read the question. We'll start. Read the question, guys. Right, ho gaya? Chalo, let's go for the solution. Now this is question number 2. I have question number 2 here as well, right? Now if you look at the question, the standard set for a chemical mixture of a firm is as under. A and B, standard mix is given, standard price is given. Okay. Tell me one thing, do you have single raw material or multiple raw material? Multiple raw material. So what's gonna be our format? So, right. So material cost variance divided into price variance, usage variance. Usage will be further divided into mix variance, yield variance. Why? Because you have got multiple raw materials, that is A and B. So formulas we know: 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 1 minus 4. Got it? So let's write all the 4 formulae to solve this particular sum. Right. Okay, what is the first one? SQ into SP, right? Second one, AQ into AP. Third one, AQ into SP. Fourth one, RAQ into SP. Okay. Now I've got 2 raw metals over here, A and B, and then I'll have the total columns over here. Now in case if he has asked you to calculate material variances for each material, then you have to subtotal here. For A separately, for B separately, you have to calculate all the variances. So that's a different thing. But in this question, if you see, he has just asked you to calculate material variances. Therefore, I'll be totaling A and B together, and then I'll be calculating variances only once. But in case if in a question he has asked you to calculate variances for each material, then A separately, B separately is what you got to do. Anyway, now see, solving these things are pretty easy. Actually, standard costing is pretty easy. Only thing is that you need to have that patience to, learn for the first time. When you're trying to learn for the first time, it will be like, learning how to drive a car. But once you get the heck of it, and then you can just, now how are people driving cars, and first day it seems impossible. So same logic applies to standard costing also. Initially it seems impossible, but after that it will be very easy. The only thing is that do you have the patience to, go through the first struggling phase, then you'll get the fruits. That's what the point is. Anyway, so SQ into SP. What is SQ? Standard quantity required for actual output. Now Is it there in the question directly given? Standard quantity is given, but standard quantity allowed for actual output or standard quantity required for actual output is not given, which means SQ is not there in the question. Do we have SP? Yes. Standard price कितना for A? 20. For B 30. ये तो हो गया. Now coming on to AQ into AP. What is AQ? Actual quantity consumed for actual output. Is it given in the question? Yes. Which is 90, 110 for A and B. Into actual price per kg. Is it given in the question? Yes. For A it is 18. For B it is 34. हो गया. Actual quantity we know 90, 110. Standard price also we know, which is 20 and 30. हो गया. RAQ, revised actual quantity. Is it given in the question? No. Standard price, is it given in the question? Yes, which is 20 and 30. So that's done. Okay, so which means we have certain missing figures that we need to find. One is SQ, the other one is RAQ. Only after finding them we can finish off this question. So let's go for working note 1. Calculation of standard quantity required for actual output. In other words, standard quantity of raw materials required for actual output of finished goods. Standard quantity of raw materials required for actual output of finished goods. Okay, let's have a look into the question to figure out how to do this. He says that there is a standard loss of 10%, which means you know that input minus loss is equal to output, correct? Input minus loss is equal to output. Suppose input is 100 minus standard loss according to the question is how much? 10%, which means 10. So input is 100%, then obviously your output will be how much? 90%, natural. Now in the question already he told you that output is 189 kgs. Are you able to understand? So if output is 189 kgs, which is considered equivalent to 90%, then what should be the 100% input? So very simple, 189 divided by 90%. You will get your 100% input. What is the input that should have been? So it is standard input. What is the input that should have been? Which is 210 kgs, which is nothing but 189 divided by 90%, because 189 represents 90%. So it's a simple thought process. Input minus loss is equal to output. We need standard quantity of raw materials, which is nothing but standard input, for actual output. Actual output is 189 kgs. For that we need standard input. So take the actual output, add back the standard loss, you will get standard input. It's as simple as that. Take the actual output, add back the standard loss, you will get standard input. That's what we have done. We have taken the actual output and then we have added the 10%, because actual output is 90%. So when you divide it with 90%, indirectly you are adding 10% and you get the 100%, which should have been 210 kgs. Now this 210 kgs is A and B put together. How much is A? How much is B? Because it is standard, you will go for standard mix. Now what is the standard mix of A and B in the question? A is 40% and B is 60%. That is a standard mix. So that implies 210 into 40%, which is 84 for A, and 210 into 60%, that is 126 for B. You got your A and B, as simple as that. Got the point, guys? So A is 84, B is 126. A is 84, B is 126. That's your standard quantity required for actual output. Okay, now I have to go for working note 2. So what is working note 2? RAQ calculation. So calculation of RAQ, that is revised actual quantity. So for that we need total actual quantity. Now total actual quantity is equal to, it is given in the question, kitna re for A? 90 plus for B 110. That implies 200 kgs is your actual quantity in total. Now this should be divided between A and B in what ratio? Standard ratio. Now what is standard ratio for A? 40% and for B 60%. So actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion is nothing but your RAQ. So I explained you all the logics for that as well. 200 into 40%, it comes around 80. This will be 120 obviously. So come back here. This is 80 and this will be 120. Voila, we have got everything. You got the point? Hereafter it's gonna be mere calci work. So I don't want to waste time on the same. You guys can do it yourself. And you get your whole numbers over here. And then you have the formulas ready at the top. And the blind rule is plus will be favorable, minus will be adverse. The logic is any variable, once you calculate a variance, then start thinking, is it going to increase the actual profit or is it going to reduce the actual profit? If it increases the actual profit, it is favorable. If it reduces the actual profit, it is adverse. I've already told you all these logics anyway. But to do it fast, you can remember the blind rule. That is plus favorable, minus is adverse. With respect to cost variances. Sales variances, it will be opposite. Anyways. So do your calci work. Just total this up. And then you have just substitute it over here. 1 minus 2 means 1 total minus 2 total. See whether you are getting plus or minus. Plus favorable minus adverse. There ends the matter. I hope this is very simple. Got it, guys? Chalo. Let's finish this off. Okay. Done. Let's move on to next one. Question number 3. If you guys are ready, we'll start. Question number 3. Yeah. Right, friends. I hope you're done with reading of question 3. Okay. Chalo. One more time. Yeah, see here. SC Limited manufactures a special floor tile which measures half meters into quarter meters into 0.01 meters, which means length into breadth into thickness. We are talking about tile here. The tiles are manufactured in a process which requires the following standard mix. You've got all the 4 materials, quantity is given, price is given, and amount is given. And after that, each mix should produce 100 square meters of floor tiles of 0.01 meters thickness. During April, the actual output was 46,400 tiles from an input of, and that input is given. So you're required to calculate material variances. That is the question. Okay. So I'll just give you a minute. You guys read the question and then of course we'll start solving it. Read the question, guys. Done with the reading? Sure. Now let's go for solving this question number 3. Now understand one thing. Again, the rule is very simple. Do you find single raw material or multiple raw materials in this question? It's quite clear and evident that we have multiple raw materials. So obviously what we have to do, yeah, the entire format comes into picture. So material cost variance divided into obviously to price variance, usage variance, and this will be obviously divided into mix variance and yield variance. So why do we get mix and yield? Because there are multiple raw materials in this particular question. Anyway, we know the formulas. So 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 1 minus 4. Okay, right. Chalo, now what I have to do, just put the formulas over here, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and let's write it over typical way. Okay, we approach every problem in the same way, then only it will be easy for us to solve. Okay, SQ into SP, second AQ into AP, third AQ into SP, fourth RAQ into SP. Oh yeah. Now let's write all the 4 different raw materials that we have: A, B, C, D, right? And then you have total. Again, in this question, he is not asking you to calculate all these variances for individual raw materials as such. He's asking you to calculate material variances. So therefore, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to total up everything for all the 4 raw materials, and then I'm going to calculate single variance, put together all the raw materials. Okay. If he has asked you, similar to the last sum which I've told you, where if he has asked you to calculate individual variances, then A separately you should do subtotal, and then you should find out all the variances for raw material A. Then B separately you should do subtotal. For C you should do the same. For D also you should do the same. Are you able to understand? But anyway, in this question he did not ask you for individual raw materials. To calculate variance for individual raw materials. Okay, therefore we don't have any problem. Right, okay, as usual, we'll try to pick up the data from the question which is directly given, and balance we'll try to find out through working notes. Okay, so the approach is exactly the same. Now again, let's start with SQ. Now what do you mean by SQ? standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of finished goods. In other words, the raw material that you allow for actual output of finished goods. Obviously, this will never be in the question. 100 out of 100 cases. Okay, so SQ, is it there in the question? No. So SP, yes, it is there in the question. So let's pick up the numbers. Standard price of A. Okay, so 1.5, then we have 1.2, then we have 1.4, we have 0.5. Okay, so ये तो हो गया. Right, AQ, actual quantity of raw metal consumed for actual output. Now, is it given in the question? Yes. During April, the actual output was 46,400 tiles from an input of. So that is actual quantity that has been consumed. And that you can see clearly. So 2,200. Okay, for A. Into actual price is also given in the next column, which is 1.6. B, 2,000 into 1.1. C, 500 into 1.4. So we're just picking up the figures from the question. Okay, 1400 into 0.5 ho gaya. So we got all the figures, we just copy pasted that from the question. Now actual quantity now we already know, which is 2200 into standard price kitna re 1.5. That also we know. Both the information are given in the question. Here it is 2000 into 1.1. Here it is 500. Sorry, it is not 1.1. Sorry, standard price 1.2. Here it is 500 actual quantity into standard price 1.4. Here it is actual quantity 1400 into standard price is 0.5. Done. Again, RAQ as usual, it will never be there in the question. Of course, it is not there in this question also. Okay, most of the times it will not be there. Okay, in fact, I can say all the times RAQ you will not find. SQ also 99.9% of the cases you will not find it in the question. So which means we need to work it out through work notes. Okay, standard price anyway it is given, which is 1.5, 1.2, 1.4, 0.5. So now just like the earlier sum, we have two missing figures which we need to work it out through working notes. One is standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of finished goods. The other one is RAQ, which is revised actual quantity. That is actual quantity rewritten in standard ratio. Anyways, so let's start with working note 1, guys. Calculation of SQ, that is standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of finished goods. That's the actual meaning. Sir, it's very complicated for me to understand. Then remember like this, raw material allowed. That's it for your actual output. Okay. Anyways, now how to calculate SQ for AOP? Right. Let's have a look at the raw material required for actual output of finished goods. Okay. So it is given in the question that one mix should produce 100 square meters of tiles. I don't want square meters of tiles. I want number of tiles. So for that, what I have to do? See, suppose the diagram is like this. This is, just imagine that this is 100 square meters of tiles and one tile occupies this much of area. Then I need to figure out how many tiles eventually I can get out of one mix. That's the whole angle over here. Now to find out the area, I just need length into breadth. I don't want to know the thickness, okay, because I just need to find number of tiles. So in that case, area of one tile is equal to length into breadth. That implies 0.5 into 0.25. That implies 0.5 into 0.25, 1 by 4 into 1 by 2, 0.125. So 100 square meters of tiles means 100 square meters divided by, each tile will take 0.125, which means how many tiles you'll be getting? 100 divided by 0.125. That implies 800 tiles. Now, which means, now from this what you have to understand is one mix will give rise to 800 tiles. So one mix will give rise to 800 tiles. Okay, 46,400 tiles is the actual output. In that case, how many mixes we should have been using? So very simple, 46,400 divided by 800. That implies 46,400 divided by 800 is equal to 58 mixes. You got the point? So totally it should have been 58 mixes. Now I know one mix information is given in the question. One mix info. That is there in the question, where material A, B, C, D quantity is 40, 30, 10, 20. That is for one standard mix. So one standard mix info is given in the question. I want how many mixes? 58 mix, which means A, B, C, D. In one mix, A is how much? 40 into 58 mixes means into 58. So 40 into 58, 2320 will be A. B, in one mix it is 30, so 30 into 58, so that will be 30 into 58, 1740. C, in one mix it is 10 into 58 mixes, obviously 580. D, in one mix it is 20 into 58 mixes, that implies I think 1160, double of 580, correct? So 20 into 58. Yeah. So this is nothing but your standard quantity for actual output. Are you able to understand? How, sir? Very simple, sir. One mix will give rise to 100 square meters of tiles, which means 800 tiles. In other words, one standard mix should give 800 tiles. So 46,400 tiles means how many standard mixes, which is nothing but standard input. So once you know the number of standard mixes, which is nothing but standard input, convert that into units. That's what we have done, which is nothing but standard input for actual output. Because what you have taken here is actual output, and what you are trying to calculate here is standard input. So standard input for actual output, which is nothing but SQ. And that's how we got the number. So the question has been pretty smart. If at all the question, if the sentence is like this, one mix will produce 800 tiles, it would have been a lot more easier. Okay, one mix is equal to 800 tiles, 46,400 tiles means how many mixes into one mix information is given. You would have got answer straight away. But the question is smart. Instead of giving one mix is equal to 800 tiles direct info, he gave one mix is equal to 100 square meters of tiles, and then he gave you area of one tile as a clue. Are you able to understand? And he gave you area of one tile as a clue. So as a result, what basically happens is that you need to rework upon it, and that's the only challenge in this question. Okay, it's a good one. So that's how we have got SQ for AOP. Got the point? Yes, chalo, we need to fill these numbers 23201740. And what else we have? 580 1160. Okay, that is done. So the main part of the question is done. RAQ should be quite easy. Okay, so second working note, calculation of RAQ. So let's take total actual quantity first from the question. Total actual quantity is nothing but actual quantity of A plus B plus C plus D. That implies A 2200 plus B 2000 plus C 500 plus D 1400. That implies 2200 plus 2000 plus 500 plus 1400. So it comes around 6100. This should be reapportioned between A, B, C, D in standard proportion, correct? Just a second. Right. Okay. So this should be divided in standard mix. Now what is the standard mix? In the first table it is given. I can show you over here also. This is your standard mix, the first table. 4:3:1:2, which is A, B, C, D. Okay. So 4:3:1:2. So I think it comes around 10, right? So 6100 into 4 divided by 10. 2440 for A. 6100 into 3 divided by 10. 1830. 6100 into 1 divided by 10. 610. 6100 into 2 divided by 10. 1220. Okay, we got the figures over here. Okay, 4:3:1:2. So total comes around 10. So 6100 into 4 by 10, 3 by 10, 1 by 10, 2 by 10. Okay. Right, now let's put the figures over here. 2440, 1830. What about the remaining two figures? 610, 1220. That's it. We got all the figures now. Now hereafter you just need to do your calc part. Is that clear? If it is a regular class, we would have done everything, but since it's a revision marathon, obviously you guys need to do these calculations yourself. Do it, you get the total numbers, and then readily the formula is available. Substitute over here. Plus is favorable, minus is adverse. That's a blind rule. You know the logic also. Anyway, I've explained you again and again. No need to explain. Got it? Chalo, that's it. We are done with this particular problem. It's a good model actually. Revise it so that your thought process also will get improved a lot. These are all the kind of sums that we actually need to solve. Got it, guys? Chalo. So let's move on to the next one. Now come to question number 4, labor variances, all of you. Question number 4, labor variances. Ready, guys? Chalo, the data obtained from a manufacturing concern, or you got number in the standard gang, standard rate per hour is also given. The number in actual gang and actual rate per hour is given. In a 48-hour week, the gang as actually composed produced 1200 standard hours. Compute labor variances. That's your question. Okay. So read the question, we'll move on. Read the question, guys. We'll start doing it. Done with reading, guys? Chalo. Start doing this. Question number 4. Right, guys. The data obtained from a manufacturing concern, or you've got men and women, so which means you have multiple labor. But do we have idle time? We don't have idle time. So multiple labor is there, but there is no idle time. So what will be the pro forma? Labor cost variance divided into 2. Labor rate variance, labor efficiency variance. If there is idle time, labor efficiency will be further classified into idle time and revised efficiency, but there is no idle time. But we do have multiple labor, which is men and women. So labor mix variance, labor yield variance. You know the other names also. Labor mix variance can also be called as labor substitution variance or labor gang variance. Okay. Chalo. Now let's go with the usual formula. 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, and 1 minus 4. Okay, now you have got these 4. Okay, let's start with the first one. Standard hours into standard rate per hour, right? SH into SR per hour. Second one, AH into AR per hour, AH into SR per hour, RAH into SR per hour. Revised actual hours. Okay, so we have 2 people over here in this question. One is men, women. Okay, right. Okay. Chalo, as usual, our approach is going to be the same right from problem number 1. That's what I've been repeating again and again. So we're gonna pick up the numbers that is directly given in the question, and then we'll go and calculate the missing figures. So first, let's start with SH. Standard hours required for actual output. SH means what? Standard hours required for actual output. Is it given in the question? Standard hours required for actual output. Is it given in the question? Yes. In a 48-hour week, the gang as actually composed, which means it is actual gang, produce 1200 standard hours. Actual gang will produce actual output only, and it is not given in terms of units, it is given in terms of hours, which is nothing but standard hours for actual output. The gang as actually composed, look at the wording in the question. The gang as actually composed produced 1200 standard hours, means actual gang. See, the gang as actually composed means actual gang. Actual gang produced. What actual gang will produce? Actual output only. But actual output is not given in terms of number of units, rather it is given in terms of standard hours. So which means it is nothing but standard hours for actual output, which is 1200 hours. That's why you need to read the question carefully. But I need for men and women separately. So how much is for men, how much is for women? Now look at their number in the standard gang. Men and women, 20 men, 10 women, which means the standard ratio is 2:1. Let's put that over here, 2:1. So 1200 into 2 divided by 3, that comes to 800, and this will be 400. So we have 800 and 400 over here for SH, that is standard hours for actual output for men and women. Now what about standard rate? Yeah, it's given in the question directly. 9 for men, 8 for women. Okay, right? Next, actual hours. Actual hours is nothing but actual hours consumed for actual output of finished goods. Is it given in the question? Nope. Directly it's not given, but we can calculate actual hours required, actual hours worked for actual output. Okay, so let's start with men and women. How to calculate actual hours? See here carefully. It is said in the question that normal week, it's a 48 hour. Look at the question, it's a 48-hour week. It's a 48-hour week, right? And how many people are there in the actual gang? 16 men and 14 women. So you have 16 men in the actual gang. Each man will work for 48 hours a week, which means how many actual hours they should have worked? 16 into 48. 768 hours. Simple. How many women you have got in the actual gang? 14. And each woman also will work for 48 hours in a week. So that implies 14 into 48. 672 hours is what a woman should have worked. So that implies, what is your total actual hours? 768 plus 672. 1440 actual hours. Okay, so actual hours is 768 for men, and for women 672. Actual rate per hour is given in the question, which is 10 for men and 7 for women. That's directly given over here, 10 and 7. Got it? Now actual hours, just now we have calculated 768 672 into standard rate per hour. Here we have 98. ये भी हो गया. Here standard rate is again ready, 98. Revised actual hours, of course it will never be there in the question, we need to calculate. So working note 3, revised actual hours calculation. First I need total actual hours to calculate revised actual hours, which just now I've calculated over here, which is 1440 hours. That should be rewritten between men and women in standard mix, which is 2:1. Right, 20 men and 10 women in the standard gang, so 2:1 is the standard mix ratio. So 1440 into 2 by 3, 960. 1440 into 1 divided by 3, so 2:1 ratio, 480. So you got 960 and 480 and the job is done. Hereafter again it's your calci work. Just do the calci work, take the numbers, you'll find 1 2 3 4 all numbers already, put it over here. Plus is favorable, minus is adverse according to our blind rule. Got the point, guys? That's it. So we're done with question number 4. Right guys, let's move on to the next one. Question number 5. Okay, this is with respect to fixed overhead variance. You guys are ready? We'll start. Ready? Sure. Calculate fixed production overhead variances in as much details as possible in the following situation. Fixed overhead, budget, actual, direct labor hours, output. Okay, 6,15,000. Actual output is not given. For that he gave a word, see below. So what is that below? The company operates a process costing system. At the beginning of the period, 42,000 half completed units were in stock. During the period, 6,80,000 completed units were completed, and 50,000 half completed units remained in the stock at the end of the period. So this question is a mix of standard costing and process costing. So you need to know process costing also to solve this question. I hope that you guys have a basic idea. We'll get into that. And once this chapter is done, next chapter probably I'll be starting with process costing only. Let's see during this revision marathon. Anyway, so look at this question 5. Read it at least 2 times. We'll start answering. So read the question, guys. Done with the reading, guys? Okay, let's see how this process costing plus standard costing question works. See, this is the thing about costing. You cannot see any particular chapter in silos, in the sense separately. Okay, every chapter will be interconnected to other chapter. That's why you have to read everything. That's why you cannot skip a particular chapter. Okay, don't go for selective study. That would be my advice, very strong advice. Now that the paper is for 100 marks, earlier it was for 50 marks anyway in the old syllabus. Chalo, question number 5. So this is process costing plus standard costing, and we need to apply fixed overhead variances. I told you when I was explaining you the logics of, when I was explaining the concept of fixed overhead variances, that the moment you see a question, you need to check for calendar variance info, that is number of days. Do you have number of days here in the question? Budgeted number of days, actual number of days, something like that. We don't have anything. So in that case, your fixed overhead cost variance will be divided into two. Fixed overhead expenditure variance, fixed overhead volume variance. And fixed overhead volume variance will be divided into 2 or 3, 2 only. Capacity, fixed overhead efficiency. What is the third one? Fixed overhead calendar variance. Why it did not come? Because in the question there is no information with respect to what calendar. That is budgeted number of calendar days, actual number of calendar days. Information is not given. When there is no information, you cannot calculate calendar variance, which means there will not be calendar variance over here. So only 2. Got it? Routine formula: 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, and 1 minus 4. Okay. So let's start putting all the formula over here. We'll try to put all the formula here, and then let's see. First one, I'll go with frequently used formula. First one, what is the frequently used formula? Actual output into standard rate per unit, the formula which I've rounded up. Second one, actual fixed overheads. Third one, budgeted fixed overheads. Fourth one, actual hours into standard rate per hour. Of course, here it is actual hours worked. I told you that logic as well. And another important thing that I told you before we go to fixed overhead variances is to calculate SR per hour and SR per unit. We'll do that as well. Here we'll do SR per hour, we need to calculate. Standard rate per unit also we need to calculate. Okay. Before we get to all this, first we need to calculate actual output. So calculation of actual output, because it's quite clear in the question that actual output has not been given. As you can see in the question, see below. So actual output information is not given. Without that, obviously we cannot calculate fixed overhead variance. Now, how to calculate that? Pretty simple. We're gonna apply the equivalent units approach from process costing. Okay, if you remember process costing, it should be very simple. So let's look at the question. At the beginning of the year, 42,000 half completed units were in stock. Okay, so opening WAP was 42,000 units, half completed units, which means half completed last year. So which means let's take opening WAP. How many units? 42,000. Half completed were in stock, which means this year first work would have happened on opening stock only, and last year half is completed, which means this year how much will be completed? Another half. So which means the equivalent unit should be 50% of it, which is this year's works, that is 21,000 units, equivalent units. Okay, 42,000 half completed this year is equivalent to 21,000 full completed this year. That is the logic. Next, let's go for completed units. Coming on to completed units, how many units are completed? 6,80,000. But please understand, in 6,80,000, first what will be completed? Opening WAP will be completed first. How many opening WAP are there? 42,000. So from 6,80,000, you need to reduce 42,000, because 42,000 is already considered over here. Please try to understand. Opening stock 42,000 will be there. In that you will work upon, and then first it will get converted into finished goods. After that only you will go for current year introduced units. So 42,000 is completed into finished goods. Can I consider total 42,000 because it's finished? No, because 50% work is done last year. So 50% work will be done this year. So I took opening WAP and completed only here. Are you able to understand? Because opening WAP is 50% completed, which is last year. Then why did I take 50%? That is another 50% which has been completed this year. So last year 50% plus this year 50% is 100%, which means what I've taken here is opening WAP which is completed. You got the point? So 42,000 units are 100% completed, but since 50% completed is last year, I cannot take it for this year, and I went for the balance 50%, which means I'm applying what method over here? FIFO method, first in first out. Got the point? So therefore this year's work only I've taken, this year's work, which is 50% completed this year, that comes to 21,000. So because I've already taken this year's work over here, okay, here you need to reduce that 42,000. So that implies 6,80,000 minus 42,000, 6,38,000. Now 6,38,000 is introduced this year, finished this year's only, so you can take 100%. Now coming on to closing WAP, how many units you have? 50,000 half completed units. It is introduced this year only half completed, so you should take 50%. That implies 25,000. So next year this 50,000 will be taken, and again what you will do in next year, opening WAP and completed. Last year 50,000 is half completed, so last year you have taken 25,000. This year that opening WAP, this closing WAP will become opening WAP next year. So that 50,000 will be completed. When it is completed, you will take 50% only, because remaining 50% is already taken last year, just like here 25,000. So that implies 21,000 plus 6,38,000 plus 25,000. 6,84,000 will be your actual output. This is the only sore point in this particular question. So first opening WAP will be completed, presuming that we are following FIFO method. So last year 50% completed, this year remaining 50% will be completed, so 100% it is finished good. So this year's only I've taken, which is 50%, and this year totally 6,80,000 completed. In that 42,000 will be opening and completed, so remove that. The balance this year introduced and this year completed. This year introduced and this year completed. How many are this year introduced and this year completed? 6,38,000. That's why I've taken 100%. Closing WAP this year introduced, but this year only 50% completed, so I have taken 50%. Got it? Opening WAP last year introduced, last year 50% completed, this year 50% completed, so I've taken this year's 50%. Got it? Chalo, that's it. Actual output is done, which is 6,84,000 into standard rate per unit. We need to calculate over here. Let's do this. The standard rate per unit, budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted output. That implies, what is your budgeted fixed overheads? 2,46,000 divided by budgeted output. It is there in the question C. 6,15,000. That implies 2,46,000 divided by 6,15,000. 0.40 per unit. I told you finding SR per hour and SR per unit is compulsory before we go for problem with respect to variable overheads as well as fixed overheads. Any overheads related problem, SR per hour and SR per unit calculation is compulsory. Next, SR per hour, budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted hours. That implies budgeted fixed overheads is 2,46,000 divided by budgeted labor hours in the question is 1,23,000. That implies 2 per hour, right? 2,46,000 divided by 1,23,000. Okay. Now let's put it over here. So standard rate per unit is 0.4. You do the calculation part. Okay. Actual fixed overheads, is it given? Yes, 2,59,000. So it is directly given in the question. Budgeted fixed overheads, is it given? Yes, 2,46,000. It is directly given in the question. Actual hours, is it given? Yes, 1,41,000 into standard rate per hour. We have calculated here 2. So 1,41,000 into 2, 2,82,000. That's it. Now you got all the information 1, 2, 3 and 4. Substitute that in the formula over here and finish it off. Pretty simple. Got it, guys? Right? So this is a very good sum based on standard costing and process costing put together, and that is the reason you need to have a little bit idea of process costing. If at all you need to understand this particular step. Suppose if you don't have any idea whatsoever with respect to process costing, it's okay. Anyway, next we're gonna cover process costing chapter, then you will understand. So you can just leave this particular problem right now. Got the point, guys? So that's it for today. I think we have done very good 5 problems. Tomorrow I'll try to select few problems from this. I'll finish it off and probably we'll go for process costing chapter and then so many other chapters also. We'll try to cover as much as possible in the limited time span that we have got. Okay, so as usual, guys, I forgot to mention, because last 2 classes I gave you the recorded lectures. Why? Because as I told you, to understand those standard costing basic sessions, it can't be revision sessions, because revision sessions will be a little bit speedy. I just want it to be a little bit slow. That's why I've uploaded those classes. Anyway, so day 8 was the last when I've communicated to you guys. So I've got some phenomenal comments over here for the last video of overhead chapter. So Dinesh Kumar, amazing sir, hats off to your efforts, that too for free of cost. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, buddy. Ardra K. Balan, thank you so much, sir, for taking the class fully in English. I'm from Kerala. While I'm searching for classes in YouTube, mostly teachers are explaining examples in Hindi, which makes a little bit difficult. You are just amazing in concept clarification, and I'm very excited and happy to hear that you are going to crack UPSC. Not going to crack, Nana. Actually, I went to interview, but I have to try it again. Then, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, and Sisindri Satyala, thank you so much, sir, for the classes in English, sir. Yeah, thank you. Then we have Manuel Royson, who has got some doubts. I'll get into that, buddy, in overhead chapter. Kalyan John, again, thank you so much, sir, for a clear and important concept of overheads. Today onwards, overheads chapter will be easy for me, sir. Thank you so much, buddy. And John P. Samuel, he has solved the question which I gave you as a homework. He gave me the answer. Thank you, buddy. Suhail, thank you so much for your wishes. And Kapil Dauda, he has again solved the question which I gave it as a homework. Thank you. Fairy Wonderla, thank you so much for the wonderful session, sir. Thank you. And Sahil Bansali, thank you, sir. Nityasri, again, she has also solved the question. Thank you so much, Nityasri. Thank you so much for your participation. Manuel Royson, he has solved it again. Yeah. And there was some request from Shiv Kumar with respect to CA final. It has been noted, buddy. So your CA final request will be done. Thank you so much. So he has asked a sincere request on behalf of CA final students to make a video on SCMP RTP November 2020. Yeah, I'll do it because we need your help to tackle those questions, because the way you teach SCMP, no one can do that. Kindly help us as soon as possible. Costing Guru, PK sir, love you sir from Bangalore. Thank you so much, buddy. I'll do it. I hope I've replied you the same. Right, guys, so that was the last video. Thank you so much. And after that, we went with standard costing concepts video, and now we are back, of course, and we'll continue. Anyways, so thank you, buddy. So we're done with this particular session. As usual, you guys, if you like the session, hit that like button, put it in the comment section, and then in the next session we'll finish off one or two. I'll just select some difficult sums. If I'm okay with that, we'll solve it, and then we'll go for process costing in the next session itself. Thank you.